People do abuse drugs, so what do we do about it? Government talks about treatment, but for the most part our policy has been lock them up. And we do arrest 4,000 people a day for selling or using drugs.
I was just sitting there and I didn't even touch anything.
Most of these people will be booked and released, but every year thousands of Americans are jailed just for using drugs. And jails are filled with people who sold drugs. So some people say, why have this war?
Stop the drug war! 60 years and we haven't won! It's time to quit!
They say they should be able to do what they want with their own bodies.
It's my body, it's my choice.
They say they ought to have the right to choose their intoxicants.
Do you know, nobody has ever died from smoking a joint anywhere in history.
This man lit up right in front of the cops.
You're willing to go to jail? It's not about the marijuana. It's about the freedom. I have the right to make up my mind without interference from the government.
There is no risk to the population when a person sits in their living room at the end of a long day's work and lights up a joint.
But it makes you stupid. It makes you lazy.
I don't think I'm stupid and I don't think I'm lazy, and I'm a responsible adult. I'm an attorney. I pay my taxes. I live a good, clean life, and if I feel like smoking a joint when I feel like it, that's my business.
We're making people criminals just by calling it an illegal substance. You can have a narcotic agent, literally, with a very dangerous substance in his hand called alcohol, and another dangerous substance, and tell you, say no to drugs. And that's, I mean, we don't even see the hypocrisy of that.
At this rally, there were lots of police. They arrested anyone they saw with marijuana. In this age of terrorism, I have to wonder, why were they here? So many of them. Do you ever wish you were out chasing terrorists?
I'd rather be here than chasing terrorists, you know, definitely.
Is it sort of a waste of your valuable time? I mean, are these people a threat?
No, not at all. I mean, they're just something they want to do. I mean, they're not really a threat to us. They're not a threat to each other.
Well, why is it illegal then?
I'm not the one who makes the laws. I just enforce them. Why is it illegal? I don't know.
Is the drug war a war we should be fighting? Is there a better idea? There's no question that drugs often do terrible things to people. Lives have been wrecked. But the drug war wrecks lives too. Costs billions, creates crime. Is there another way? Much of Europe now says yes. What would happen if we legalized drugs? Well, here in Holland and Amsterdam, it's already happened. Using marijuana is legal here. What's that done? Holland now has hundreds of coffee shops, they call them, where marijuana is officially tolerated.
Did you try that grass yesterday?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact.
Red's a regular user. She smokes several joints a day. Every day?
Every day.
Red's now a manager at this coffee shop, which offers a menu of marijuana choices, from joints to chocolates.
Chocolate bonbons, we have them in all three kinds of chocolate and made with weed butter added to it.
How much would you like? Just a gram.
The police do regulate the marijuana sales. Shops may sell no more than about 5 joints worth per person, and they're not allowed to sell to minors. And no hard drugs are allowed, just hash and marijuana.
That's good weed.
So what's the result? Is everyone getting stoned? No. In America today, 38% of adolescents have smoked pot. But here in Holland, it's only 20%.
They've taken the glamour out of it. In fact, the Minister of Health of Holland has said, we've succeeded in making pot boring.
Maybe that's why half the people we talk to in these coffee shops turned out to be American. You don't feel bad breaking your country's laws?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Because I don't see anything wrong with it.
The whole point about it is that it's a fun drug. It makes you feel really nice. It doesn't make you violent. It makes you relaxed. It makes you giggly.
So if it's such a good thing, why is it illegal in most of the world?
You tell me.
And most official talk about Holland's law condemns it. It's a failure, said the last drug czar, an unmitigated disaster. Is it really? It's not what we heard here in Amsterdam. This isn't even controversial anymore?
It's normal.
Dutch clients will pick up a small amount of cannabis the same way they would pick up a bottle of wine in the store.
Rotterdam police superintendent Jur Verbeek says Kids are going to try marijuana, legal or not. If you close down the coffee shops, they wouldn't be able to get it.
Where will the young people go? Tell me, please.
Maybe they'll give up marijuana.
Or they are curious. And when there are no coffee shops, they will go to the illegal houses, and then the dealer said, okay, you want to have marijuana. Good, but we have cocaine as well, and we have heroin for you.
That was a reason for the Dutch experiment with marijuana, to separate soft drugs from the more dangerous hard drugs. But in Holland, some people are experimenting with how to deal with hard drugs, too. Check out what's going on inside this church. In the basement, they're buying heroin and injecting it right in the church. The police know about this, but don't stop it. So already, you feel it?
Yeah.
Feel good? This is happening in Hans Fischer's church.
It does not mean that I agree the use of dangerous drugs.
You're a drug dealer. You're allowing people to deal in your church.
I am not a drug dealer. I am not involved in the dealing of drugs.
You're inviting them into the house of the Lord. You're the landlord who lets it go on.
The church is for sick and poor people. Thus, in my opinion, drug addicts are sick. We have responsibility for them.
What Fischer's doing is illegal in Holland. Using hard drugs isn't forbidden, but selling is. Fischer only allows addicted people who follow certain rules to use drugs at the church, and police look the other way.
When we interfere, then the problem is more bigger.
Inside the church, addicts buy drugs from a few dealers that Fischer selects. They buy through this window, which replicates the illegal buy they're used to. It also prevents greedy addicts from grabbing too much. Then, 3 times a day, they're allowed to use the smoking room or the injection room.
You have headache, you take medicines for your headache. I take medicines, just for me and medicine.
Most societies, if they've tolerated this, have tolerated it because it affects a part of the population that they don't care about or manage not to care about.
America's drug czar, John Walters, says these user rooms are a terrible idea.
We want to make people well. We don't want to settle for institutions that just allow people to be addicted more safely.
This doesn't look like a good life, but at least instead of being street criminals searching for a fix, it allows addicts to hold jobs and support families.
They are removing the criminal element. They have a lower drug problem, they have a lower crime problem, they have fewer people in prison.
What started here in Holland has now spread. Today, police in most of Europe ignore marijuana use. In Spain, Italy, and Luxembourg, they've decriminalized most drug use, and in Portugal recently, all drug use. In Amsterdam, ABC's hidden camera shows legalizing marijuana shops doesn't stop people from selling illegal drugs.
I have heroin, I have cocaine, I have ecstasy.
Critics say Holland's become an island of drug use.
Ecstasy. How much? 100 grams.
But while this does happen, the use of drugs in Holland and all Europe is still lower, by far, than in the U.S. And European countries are proposing even more liberalization. Why not sell drugs the way we do alcohol, he says, but maybe with more restrictions.
Make it available to adults. Brown packaging, no glamour, take the illegal money out of it, and then furnish it, holding people accountable for what they do. These drugs are too dangerous not to control.
Legal drugs. That's a frightening thought. Maybe more people would try them. Judge Grace says even if they did, that would do less harm than the war we've been fighting for the past 30 years.
What we're doing now has failed. In fact, it's hopeless. This is a failed system that we simply must change.
Drugs do hurt people, but isn't the drug war worse?